A very good evening to one and all, and a warm welcome to the In-Service Skills Enhancement Program presented by VIDYADAAN Foundation. Wishing you all a very happy Dashera. I'm Shweta Batra, and I'm here to take you through today's session. To begin with, I would like to introduce you to the organization. VIDYADAAN is a transformative non-profit organization. It is dedicated to empowering underprivileged children, youth, and women through the power of education. With an unwavering commitment of fostering a bright future, Vidyadan is at the forefront of providing high quality education in India, thereby enabling disadvantaged children to unlock their potential. To enhance the quality of education it provides, it also conducts teacher training programs. To remain at the forefront of the education sector, it is crucial for educators to stay updated with the latest advancements. Additionally, as a policy requirement, every educational professional must engage in 50 hours of continuous professional development annually. The In-Service Skills Enhancement Program is a significant initiative to fulfill this requirement. We are pleased to have trained over 15,000 and counting teachers across India and are committed to extending this opportunity to educators from the CBSE, ICSE, and the state board schools. This is a capacity building program which is designed to enhance teaching skills, provide updates on the latest educational trends, and equip educators with the essential tools needed to excel in their roles. The sessions are both engaging and informative, delivered by the industry experts. We have a session every Saturday, and it has been a continuous process every Saturday from 5 to 6. The point to be noted is that the educators who successfully attend this program will be receiving a e-certificate. For this, I will briefly inform you to the process. After the presentation by the speaker, we will be sharing a questionnaire link, which will be based on today's content. The person who scores 7 and above is eligible for the e-certificate. In case you are looking for the e-certificate, you will have to pay a 100 rupees, small fee of 100 rupees, and you shall receive your e-certificate via WhatsApp within 7 working days. Also, I would like to make a note that the previous session certificates have not been issued and they shall be done on Monday, today being a Dashera holiday. Coming to the session, I would like to introduce to you our speaker. Our expert today is Mrs. Namita Agarwal, Principal, Jamshedpur Public School. Madam is an MA in Political Science, B.Ed, and has 27 years of teaching experience. Mrs. Agarwal has been a CBSE mentor and city coordinator for evaluation of assessment for over 20 schools. As a lead assessor for Tata Steel Education Excellence Model, Madam has assessed over 15 schools. As a resource person for the Center of Excellence, Mrs. Agarwal has conducted over 250 training programs. Mrs. Namita conducts workshops on life skills, pedagogical leadership, health and wellness, and on the is also on the CBSE Master Trainer record. Mrs. Namita is also the secretary of Singham Sahodaya and has been instrumental in organizing around 210 in-house training programs for schools. Madam does come with an enriched body of work professionally and personally has cherished values like simplicity, honesty, and integrity. It is a matter of great pride and privilege to have you on board, Madam, with us today. Before I hand over the mic to Madam, I would also like to bring a note to the audience is that we shall be putting in, you can very well on the YouTube chat, put up any questions that are related to today's content or topic. If time permits, we shall try to address those questions as well. With this note, on to you, Madam. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shweta ma'am. And thank you to Vidyadan for inviting me to this session. A very good evening to all my participants whom I cannot see, and but I know that you can see me and you can hear me well. So the topic for discussion today is happy teachers create or make happy spaces. Definitely, a happy teacher is the one who leads the entire student in the classroom and the teacher is the leader there. There is no principal, there is no in charge, nobody, but it's the teacher who is the leader there. And I think even when the children go out of school, they leave school, they this is the quality that they remember about their teacher. They don't remember much about what they've been taught about the subjects, definitely, but they would always remember the kindness of the teacher. They would always remember the happy environment which a teacher would create in the class. So let me just share my PPT before I begin. Just give me a moment. Okay. So I suppose my PPT is visible. The topic, as you can see, is happy teachers make happy schools. So, the entire school environment, and of course, when we talk of happy schools, this is one of the aims of the national education policy, to change the environment, to make it a happier one, to make it a place where children come happily to school to learn, to create, to innovate, and of course to come out of schools, to be graduating from schools as confident young individuals. This is the idea of the national education policy 2020. So the onus lies on the teachers, on the schools, on the schoolmakers, to make sure that the environment that they have in school is just right for students to develop confidence, to become happy children. What are the objectives of this workshop? Of course, to understand what is happiness and how one can achieve it. We all know that yes, it's good to be happy, but how can we achieve this happiness? So let's explore happiness in this 1 hour session that we have got today. How can teachers create a happy classroom that fosters learning and creative thinking? So this is what we are going to discuss, and in order to come to this, we have to be talking about a lot of things. What exactly is happiness? To start with, happiness, as any individual would like to say, that happiness is when your life fulfills your needs. Now, needs can be many. Needs can be emotional, physical. There can be many kinds of needs, as we have seen in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that starting right from the safety needs, from physical needs, from emotional needs, one goes higher. As one need is satisfied, you move on to the higher needs. So, is it really this? Is it really that when your needs are fulfilled, you are happy? In today's world, in today's VUCA world, I would say the needs have increased transformationally. They have increased a lot, and the children nowadays really don't know what they need. They really don't know what they desire. There is so much to desire, there is so much in front of them, that they themselves are confused. They do not know where to look for happiness, and whether that happiness that they are getting is a permanent one, is a real one. So this is today, it's a real challenge, it's a big challenge for us educators, to show the children what exactly they require, what exactly are their needs, and what exactly is just something which is greed for them and not their need, which is not really healthy for them. So of course, then to understand happiness, and in order to make the children understand about happiness, the teacher themselves, the teachers have to be happy. They have to be happy from within. It's not just showing a happy face, it is to be happy. Now, how can you say that how can I be happy if I'm not satisfied, if I'm not happy with the things happening around me? How can I be happy? So this is exactly what we need to understand, that how to make yourselves happy, how to understand this happiness, and how to create that happiness around you. So let's move ahead. I first of all, to begin with, are you happy with yourself being a teacher, or have you been pushed into this profession out of need, or maybe because there was nothing better to do? So this is something, first of all, we need to understand, that if we are a teacher, we have to accept that this is an honorable, you can say, profession, and it's best to be really, really happy about being a teacher. Give that importance to yourself, that you are the future makers, you are the makers of the leaders of tomorrow, and such an important, you can say, responsibility lies on your shoulders. So teachers are the ones, I would say, who are the most important people. It's the most one of the most important professions. So it isn't about how old we are or what subject we are teaching. If you don't like what you are doing, then teaching becomes a burden for you, and you will not be creating the right kind of environment. So first of all, do a little bit of soul searching, that am I enjoying the work that I'm doing? And if not, why is it that I'm not enjoying? Am I being forced to do some things? Am I being forced to do the things just because for the sake of doing it? And how can I make my work better? How can I start getting more involved? How can I bring in more activities into my classroom teaching? And that exactly is what NEP is talking about, how teachers can bring in more and more activities to engage the students, to make them feel part of the system, and not that it's a one way process where the teacher comes in, teaches the chalk and talk method, and moves out of the class, and the child is still left wondering what did the teacher say. So why not make your teaching more interesting, bring in more activities, try to see how you can make concepts more clear to the children by bringing in a lot of activities into your classroom, bringing in more experiential learning into the classroom, and of course understanding the students that are under your care, understanding each and every child in your class. That is the crux of the matter. So, if of course, let's have a look at the last line here. In a class, there may be some students who are off track. First of all, we need to focus on the children who are willing learners, who are the ones who are always active. Then, after once you have captivated their interest, then you might focus on the rest of the students also. That what exactly are they understanding? Are they trying to learn? Try to you can say change as many students as possible. Try to bring them into the system. Try to make them. And of course, I will come to this serenity prayer. If there are some children whom you just cannot change, there are some children whose nature we cannot change at all, and we should not try to change the inherent nature of a child. We try to improve them, try to teach them good things, good values, but not to change the inherent nature of a child. This is the serenity prayer which we say in our school, and I think many people must be knowing about this. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And of course, there are many more lines after this. And this is something which students also should understand. Acceptance is one thing which leads to happiness. If you are able to accept the things that you cannot change, it moving in the right direction. It is taking you towards happiness. Most of the time we are unhappy because we cannot accept things, we cannot accept the things that are coming to us, maybe people, maybe situations. So it's time to understand that there are things which we cannot change, which is not in our hands to change. So why not start accepting it? And this is the first step towards happiness. The moment you start accepting the things which you cannot change, of course having the courage to change what you can, but whatever you cannot change, like the weather, we cannot change the weather, so might as well accept that it's going to be a rainy day. It's just a small example. So that is the first step towards happiness. So happiness is when your life fulfills your needs. We can say start with that. In other words, happiness comes when you feel satisfied and fulfilled. Happiness is a feeling of contentment that life is just as the way it should be. Perfect happiness comes when you have most of your needs satisfied. Now, again, I would like to reiterate the same thing, that contentment, this word contentment, how can we be content? Many a time we say, I don't have this, I don't have that, my neighbor has this. So, the word contentment here is of great importance. Being content with what you have. That doesn't mean that you should not have ambitions. That doesn't mean that you should not have high aims, goals. But being content with the way you are, being content with your life, being content with whatever is happening around you, and then, of course, trying to bring in the right kind of changes, trying to bring in whatever you can change, whatever you need to change. That is the way in which you can start becoming happy, accepting situations, trying to see the positive in every situation, trying to see the best in every situation. So it is important to create a positive classroom environment. Again, we come back to the teacher. Whatever happens in school, the teacher is the one who is most responsible for it. So, how do we go about doing this? We need to look into three things. One is the physical environment, the emotional environment, which involves the teacher and the student and their peers, the relationship between the student and the teacher or the student and their friends, their peers, etc. And of course, the role of self esteem in the classroom. These are the three very, very important things which we need to focus on when we are looking at a happy classroom environment or a happy school environment. You can see this poster here which says, happiness is having an amazing teacher, and which is very, very true. A teacher can change the life of a student if you are giving the right kind of environment, you're giving the right kind of boost to the students, giving the right kind of support to the child who needs it, and of course helping to raise their self esteem. So these are the three things first which we will focus on: how to structure the physical environment, that is the classroom arrangement, etc. Secondly, how to structure the emotional environment, and of course, what is the role of self-esteem in a class, which I feel is very, very important. So, firstly, the physical environment, it is up to the teacher to decide, or with the help of the students, what are the things that they can display in the class. Every student, whether it is in the primary classes or in the middle school or even in the plus two, in the higher classes, every child would like to see some work that they do displayed in the class to be appreciated. Many a times we feel that giving stars and giving smileys to the children in the primary is important, but as the children come to higher classes in the middle school or in the higher in plus 2 level, this takes a backseat, and that is something which students used to look forward. We start feeling that children have come to standard 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so these are not important to them, but yes, it is very important. You try giving the smiley to a child who is in standard 11 or 12, give them a star in their notebook, and you see the smile on their face, see the happiness on their face. So it's not that they have become adults, they're still children, and they want to be treated as children where appreciation is concerned. So, classmate posters help students to develop a sense of belonging to the class. It could be changed every week, it could be even changed every month, depending on what are the things you are displaying. You could have a theme, and based on the theme, the displays could be there in the class. It could be based on maybe festivals, it could be based on events. It all depends on what you decide to put up on the walls. Plants, of course, have a positive effect on the classroom. You can ask every child to bring a small sapling, water it every day. These could be displayed on the walls, on the windows, on the corridors, and children will feel very happy when they see their plant growing in the school. So these are small little things which make a difference to the physical environment in the school, which also tends to leads to happiness. In the nursery classes, of course, the children want their classrooms to be very, very colorful. Everything should have be pictorially displayed. There should be a 3D display of everything in the class. Student placement in the classroom now, many a times the teachers, they separate two friends who are talking. So this is something again which the children don't like. If you make them sit with their friends, they feel happy. So why not put the condition that yes, if you're going to be good, you would be sitting with your friends, you would be allowed to sit with your friends. So this way, maybe student placement. Then of course there are some children who are all the time distracted. They want to look out of the window, they want to see who's passing by. So these are the children you have to keep away from doors and windows. So you have to identify such children who are easily distracted. Try to keep them in the center of the class, try to keep them away from windows and doors where they could be distracted. Then of course, in an inclusive classroom, we have to look for special children, we have to look for children with special needs, and of course, attending to their needs, their placement should be according to their needs. For the little ones, you can have corners in your classroom, like the way it is displayed here. You can see round tables. So the children know that once they finish their writing work, they can move to another table where they have got toys. So it gives them a little bit of motivation that yes, if I complete this work, I'm allowed to go to the next table, which may be a reading table where there are storybooks, or which may be a play table, play corner where there are things to play with. So it depends on the level, the kind of motivation that you can provide to the children. Then the second of part is the structuring of the emotional environment in the class. It is, of course, the teacher's responsibility to value each and every student in the class, to understand the learners in the class, to understand their learning levels, to understand their styles of learning, because as we know, every child has got a different style of learning. Now, to cater to the needs of such children, we have to have different kinds of ways in which we are, you can say, communicating with the students, using different forms of teaching aids. You can have different activities, you could have different kinds of maybe role plays, dramas, where children feel involved, they feel that they are also part of the system. There are children who enjoy songs, dance, so teaching them in the way they want to learn rather than teaching the way you want to teach. So this bond between the teacher and the student is much more important, especially where there are children. If you have students in your class who have attention deficit disorder, there are many children, such children, who are always looking for maybe attracting the attention of the teacher. So you have to focus on such children also. There are children with autism, so understanding each and every child. There are children with learning disabilities. So many a times learning disabilities are not identified, so it's very important to have capacity building programs, to have training programs for teachers to understand the different kind of disabilities. Because there are many times when you are scolding the child for not doing a certain task, it may be because that student has got a certain learning disability which has not been identified. Therefore the capacity building programs or the training sessions for specially children, teachers at the junior level, maybe up to standard 2, it's very important to have a training session on learning disabilities, to identify at an early stage if there is a learning disability in the student. Then there are many other strategies. Greet students personally. Many times I've noticed that teachers have the habit of calling out students by their roll numbers. It would be really nice if teachers start calling out by their names. Children enjoy that. Make frequent eye contact, negotiate rules. So let the students make the class rules, whether they are in standard 1, 2, 3, 4, or even in standard 11, 12. Let them make the class rules, and then those rules could be discussed and it could be put up on the wall. It could be a nice kg sheet, and it could be displayed on the walls. So this is one way in which they feel involved in making of the rules, and definitely if they are involved in the making of the rules, they would be following those rules. Acknowledging positive behaviors, especially with some of the students in the class who are more disruptive. If they show certain positive behaviors, it should be acknowledged, it should be appreciated, it could be highlighted also. Using positive language. If teachers are expecting positive behavior from the student, positive language from the students, even the teachers have to engage in always in positive language, in kind language, using the right kind of words which will not insult a child, which will not lower their self esteem. Even while scolding them, we have to see that you're not hurting the self esteem of a student. So interacting with students even outside the classrooms, after you have taught, you've gone out, you may meet some students in the ground during the tiffin time in the corridors. So just a little chit chat, talking to them uh, would help them, but make them feel more comfortable, make them happier. And of course, in the classroom, use humor, minimize embarrassment. While scolding a child, while reminding them maybe about their homework or the way they dress up or something, it's best to try not to embarrass the child. If there is something that could be said outside the classroom, you could take the child separately outside and explain it to them, rather than embarrassing the child in the class. So these are some of the things. Of course, there are many, many more things which could be added here, but these are some of the strategies which teachers could use in their classrooms. Self esteem is a very important thing which we need to focus on. Self esteem is an individual's or a student's sense of their own worth, or the extent to which a person values, approves of, or appreciates or likes himself or herself. Now in the class, if teachers pass comments on the students, such comments which would lower their self esteem, or which would make them lose their confidence, that is to be avoided. Many a time we tell children, you will never be able to do it, you don't study, you'll never be able to pass. So these are the negative comments which should be avoided in the class. Certain negative comments which teachers make, which is always better to try to use positive statements in place of those negative. The same thing could be conveyed in a more positive manner. Okay. So self esteem leads to achievement. Teachers play a major role in enhancing the self esteem of their students. You can see that I put this statement in red, which because it is very important There are many children who have stopped studying just because of a certain comment a teacher may have made, or there are certain children who have started studying better because of the positive strokes which the teacher has given. So you can understand how important the words which you use in the class, how important it is to the particular child in your classroom. Now, I'll take you through this story. Many of you may have already heard about this. High self esteem leads to achievement. This is a story about two brothers who were playing on a holiday. You can see that they were flying the kite. One was a little one of, say, 7 to 8 years, and the other one was older, of, say, 11 to 12 years old. While playing with their kite, the older one fell into a well and started calling out for help, shouting out for help. The younger brother did not know what to do. He was very confused. How can I help my brother? How can I pull him out of the well? Suddenly, he noticed a bucket lying around which was tied up to that well. So he threw it in that bucket and asked his elder brother to hang on to the bucket, and he would pull him out. So he did that. He tried his level best. He put in his entire strength and was able to pull out his brother with a great deal of difficulty. The two brothers were happy because the younger one could rescue the older brother. And of course, the older brother was very proud of his younger brother because he could pull him out. So now, when they went home, of course, it was late because they were playing with the kite and this incident with the well happened. The father was not ready to believe that this happened, and he said, "No, you all are making up a story. Don't tell me lies, tell me exactly what happened." But the children still said that, yes, this did happen. So they were living in a village. So he went to the village elder. He said, "Look at now, you look at yourself, look at your height, and look at your brother's height. How could you pull out this boy?" They went and spoke to the village elder, who was supposed to be the most wise person in the village. And he said that, "Look at my children, they are always telling lies, and now they've come up with such a big story that he has fallen into the well and I've pulled him out." So this village elder, he very wisely looked at the children and he said, "Yes, they are speaking the truth." And why was he able to do it? He was simply able to do it because there was nobody there to tell them that you cannot do it. And that is the reason why he could muster up the strength, he could muster up the courage to do this task of pulling out his brother from the well. So it's always the power of positivity and high self esteem which helps children to get through difficult situations, to achieve things when there is no one to tell them, give them negative comment, to tell them that no, you cannot do it. So here in this case, you can see it was the power of positivity, the power of high self-esteem, where the child felt confident enough that he could help to pull out his brother. There was no one to tell him that you cannot do it. So now, what are the implications here for the teachers? It's, of course, it's a small story, but the story also teaches us a lesson that yes, we should make sure that we are trying to raise the self-esteem of the students, not give them negative comments. Don't disregard self-esteem in the classroom, whichever class it may be. It may be small children, even the little ones are very uh, they're very concerned about their self-esteem, and they feel insulted if in front of everyone they are given a scolding for something which they feel that is not justified. Motivate students and give them positive strokes, which is very important. Focus on techniques that will result in increased earned self esteem. Do not label students. So, a student may have done something wrong. So, maybe you can tell them that this particular act of yours is not appreciated. But the student himself is not, you can say that the teacher can say that I don't like what you have done. I do like the way you are, the person you are, but I do not like what you have done here today in this class. So, not labeling the students is important. Don't shield students from feelings of sadness. So, expose them to the different kinds of emotions so that they are ready to face the world. So, they're ready to stand up and understand sadness, frustrations, anxiety, and also they have the courage to face difficult situations. So, teaching them resiliency, self control, these are all things which are taught in the class. And now comes the importance of life skills. So, every teacher, I would say, has to be a life skill teacher, a life skill trainer. Uh, you cannot say that it's only the job of the, you can say, the counselor, or the job of the moral science teacher, or the class teacher who is going to do this. But each and every teacher should spend some time in the class to enhance the life skills of the students, giving them the confidence, showing them what is right and what is wrong, So it doesn't take too much time. Even 5 minutes of a little bit of discussion in the class about a certain issue, you could discuss a case in the class, something that happened yesterday, something that happened in the class or in another room or in another class, that could be discussed, and the children could brainstorm on that, at what could have been done better, what was the right way of handling a situation, how could maybe a tussle could have been you can say avoided. So these are the things which every teacher should look into. It's not just the job of one person, but every teacher needs to become a life skill trainer. So what are your essential needs to be happy? Since happiness is, as we started off in the beginning, that happiness is when your life fulfills your needs, the next logical question comes, but what are my needs? And every person's needs differs, every student's needs differs. We all share common basic needs that everyone knows: food, shelter, clothing, etc. But where we differ is exactly how strongly we feel for each of these needs, that how much we need of what. Now, what is the pathway to happiness? Gratitude, forgiveness, optimism, empathy, and respecting diversity in the classroom. This is something which, through actions, through maybe you can say games, there are different games that can be played in the class whenever there is time. Uh, Not only whenever there is time, but to create time for that. I would not say whenever there is time, but creating that time in the class, keeping that time in your lesson plan, that okay, this much time I'm going to spend on discussing this particular topic in the classroom. So it has to be minuted, it has to be kept in your plan, that yes, whenever I finish this particular topic, I am going to do this particular game in the class, we're going to have this discussion in the class. So that way you are planning for it. Teaching the children an attitude of gratitude, forgiveness. So these are certain things which should be discussed on a regular basis in the class, and to discuss that the teacher also needs to believe in it. Then only can you translate it down to the students. Optimism, empathy, empathizing with others, doing good for others, putting yourself in the shoes of the other person is empathy. Respecting diversity, different kind of children, different coming from different socioeconomic backgrounds, respecting and accepting them in your classroom, that is important. Then of course there are other ways. Balancing the homes, you can say work life balance as we may call it. Similarly, it goes for teachers too. Balancing your work and life both together, that is difficult, but it's not impossible. So carrying your burden from home to school, carrying your worries from home to school, that is not to be done. Carrying your worries which you have in school back home, again, is going to be ruining the environment at home. So how do you strike a balance? This is something which each and every individual has to work on it. Time management, of course, is important. Having rational thoughts, the joy of giving, or as we had said, empathizing. Physical health also is very important in order to be happy, because you have to be healthy in order to be happy. Spirituality is something which we need to guide the students to. It's There is a difference between religion and spirituality. So teaching them spirituality, teaching them meditation, mindfulness, teaching them to keep a hobby, so that when you are uh, maybe upset over something, you can start engaging yourself in a certain hobby. When you're not wanting to indulge in any other conversation with anybody, communicate with them, you get involved in your own hobby. So integration of happiness. So we have discussed so many things till now. What exactly are the components, important components of happiness? So how do we integrate this into the classroom? Positive affirmations are important, that students can be made to repeat the positive affirmations. Some of the examples you can see over here: I am enough, I believe in myself and my abilities, I can control my own happiness, today I am a leader, today is going to be an awesome day, I can get through this a difficult situation. So this is just an example. So having these kind of small activities in the class, it just takes around 5 to 10 minutes, and you can ask every child to take out a sheet of paper, make a beautiful design out of it, and write some positive affirmations. Keep those positive. You can share those positive affirmations with your classmates, or if you don't want to share it, keep it in your diary, but do write it down. So the positive affirmations are also very important where happiness is concerned, for the students to understand themselves first, and then to go about helping others. So let's have a look at some of the ways to create a happy classroom. A classroom should be a space where happiness takes precedence, where children are always met with a smile and with positivity. So it is again the role of the teacher. When you enter the class, forget about your own worries, forget about your own whatever tension, anxiety you may have. You have to uh, meet and greet that classroom of 40 or 45 children's waiting for you with a smile. Greet them happily with positivity, with a lot of positivity. It's a space where the well-being of the students is important. And if the children are happy, definitely they are going to be happy with what you are going to teach them, and the learning is going to happen if the classroom is a happy one. So number one, I would say providing support. We will look at a few things here. So providing support, creating the support network, not only providing support, but asking the students to list out a, you can say, uh, a few number of people. Say you can ask them to list out 10 people or 5 people whom they can approach when they are not happy, when they are sad, when they are anxious, when they are upset. Make a list of 5 people whom you would approach. And talking to someone is important, because I have noticed in schools many a times the children get into depression, they get into fights also, just because they have not shared with somebody. They could have shared the same thing with a family member, with a friend, with a teacher, with the principal, with a counselor. And had they shared that concern of theirs, maybe it could have been resolved, or maybe they could have come to a solution. But just because they have not shared with anyone, kept it within themselves, they have got into a situation. So providing support and helping the children to create a network of support, to create a group of people whom they can talk to, at least talk to, uh, when they are sad. By creating a classroom with a clear support system in place, children's overall happiness and confidence can increase. So this is something which, again, it is the teacher to guide the children how to do it. It's not easy for all children to understand how to support others within the classroom either. It's a skill that needs to be explicitly taught to some. So again, talking to the children how to empathize with others, understanding the difficulties of your friends, understanding the situation of your friends, trying to help your friends in times of need, give them a listening ear. That is important. So a good friend is one who will listen, who will listen to whatever you have to say. That, so these examples can be given to children time and again. Then, of course, celebrating achievement and success. Celebrating individual achievement or group achievement in the class helps the children to raise their self esteem, and, of course, to give them that team feeling. If you are celebrating a group achievement, they develop that kind of team feeling. And that also brings a lot of happiness. Reward and recognition can go a long way to boost people's, or you can say children's, confidence. So even small little things that they may have done, small little things which they do in the class, that could be appreciated by just a word, by just a line. It doesn't take much, it doesn't cost you much to appreciate. So give as much as appreciation that you can give. Celebrating mistakes can also help. There are many a times, children make mistakes and they feel it's a big thing, but we need to make them understand that everyone can make a mistake. But if you learn through that mistake, you are a happier person, you are a better person. But if you keep repeating the same mistake over and over again, that means you're deliberately doing it, and which is wrong. So learning from your mistakes is how you can celebrate mistakes. Creating a happy classroom starts with an understanding of the importance of the growth mindset and of learning from our own mistakes, or even sometimes from the mistakes of your friends, from others. So this the last line you can see here, as much as stickers and smiley faces can work wonders with happiness, and enjoyment of intrinsic happiness is important too. So again, I repeat the same thing, that it's not just the little ones, but even the senior students who are looking forward to that smile from the teacher, to that word of appreciation from the teacher, for that pat on the back, or just a glance where you are smiling at them and they know that you have appreciated the way, whatever they have done in the class, or whatever they have helped somebody else through some difficult situation. So these kind of appreciations are very, very important to improve, or to increase the, you can say, self-esteem of the students. Then teaching self-confidence. Confidence can increase happiness, but it's not something which we are naturally born with. For many of us, it is a learned skill how to become confident. Be First of all, be happy with what you are, with who you are, and that is what will lead to confidence. So again, telling the children that it's okay not to be tall. It's okay not to be thin. It's okay not to be fat. So be happy with the way you are. That is the starting point. Be happy with what you are. Happy with who you are, and then think about, okay, what are the things I want to improve in myself. So, a happy classroom embraces this journey and provides opportunities for children to learn the skill in their own time with the support of all around them. All around them means the teachers, their peers, their friends, and everyone in school. Everyone means everybody, whether it is the staff in the school, whether it is the principal, the teachers, everyone. For children to be successful, they need to be able to manage and overcome their fears, worries, their limiting beliefs and problems. Sometimes they have a lot of fears which they don't speak, they don't talk to anyone about it. And if they start talking, if they start discussing with somebody, those fears could be sorted out. Maybe it's just a fear in their mind, or they may also realize that it's not only me but everyone else is also scared of the same thing which I am scared of. So discussion is important. Discussion, talking to somebody, brainstorming in the class. Maybe the problems could be discussed by the teachers in the class by just drawing chits. You can have a box in the class where there is a time when children can put in their fears in the box. The teacher takes out those chits, and one by one they can, without writing the name of the child, she can call out and let the children discuss it, talk about it, whether it is a realistic fear or it is with something which everyone faces. Building positive relations, this is very important. Having positive relationship with peers, with adults within the school, which can help in creating a happy classroom. So, of course, we know that there are time restrictions. There are, teachers who are racing against time. Many a time you say, I have to cover the portion. This word cover the portion should never be used, because if you are planning your time well, you will never have to cover the portion. You have enough time to do whatever you have to do in the class, to teach, to also include activities, to also include some time for helping the children with their personal problems, with enhancing life skills, etc. So most importantly, it will teach you need to teach children how to communicate, how to talk to each other, how to talk to the teachers, how to talk to adults, how to talk to peers, etc., which will help them also to improve relationship with each other. Developing coping skills, again, this is something which not only children but even adults need to understand. If children develop core strategies early, in young age, maybe while they are in the junior classes itself, teach them how to cope with situations, rather than allowing them to, allowing things to go out of hand. Teach them how to cope with a situation. What is it in their which is in their control and what is not, and how to, discuss it with somebody, how to find a solution rather than always looking for the problem that is there. So, if we are able to teach children to understand their emotions as well as how their body may feel and react during times of stress, they will be able to identify what they need to do to feel better. So, discussion on emotions, how do you feel today? How did you feel during that particular situation? Having a small discussion helps them to understand that it's not only me, but everyone who goes through these emotions. And it's not a permanent thing. Today I'm happy, tomorrow I may not be. Today I am sad, but tomorrow I may be happy. So these are some things which can be discussed time and again with the children. Then, of course, a positive and happy influence. This is another factor. Creating a happy classroom isn't just about smiling every day. It's about developing an environment which looks after the whole child, about all their needs, help them build strategies to feel happier about all aspects of their life, whether it is about their physical being, whether it is about what they want to be in life, what they want to do, what are the difficulties they are facing, everything. So, as teachers, we are in the privileged position to be a constant positive influence in the life of our students. And this is a position we should feel proud of. So, we should feel that we are privileged to be having so many children in our care, and every year a new set of children come under our care, and we have this power to influence. So, why not put a positive influence on the children whom we are dealing with? So, creating a happy classroom, it is just the beginning. Then, of course, acknowledging individual differences, not comparing, okay, so and so child has done so well, why can't you be like so and so? This is something which we need to understand, that every child is different. Every child need not be a topper. Every child has got a different set of skills, and we as teachers need to tap on those skills, try to understand what the child is good at, and of course help them develop those skills. So teachers need to understand that each child is different, hence their capacity to comprehend also may be different. There may be a child who understands immediately whatever you're saying. There may be another child who needs some activity to understand that same concept. There may be another child still who needs to sing and dance to understand whatever you are trying to say. So there are different ways of explaining. So every child's capacity, there may be slow learners in your class. Comparing one child with another is unfair. Rather, teachers need to bring out the best in every child. There may be students who are good at drawing, but they may not be good at reading. There may be another child who is very good at in the football field, but is not good in academics. So try to understand every child's ability and appreciate them for what they are, for who they are. Practice kindness in the class. Kindness is contagious too, and it even helps us, it makes us healthier. The best way to spread kindness is to be kind to yourself first, not always criticizing yourself. I do not have this, I do not have that, I'm not like this, I'm not. So be kind to yourself, appreciate yourself. Teachers are the ones who are the first ones to use kind words, for being polite, being respectful, patient, well mannered. And this is how you can, be a role model for the students, because ultimately they will emulate whatever you are doing in the class. You could even encourage your children by creating a wall of kindness. So, social outreach programs in school is very important. There are some schools which, make a wall of kindness outside their boundary wall, where hooks are put up, and children bring clothes, toys, what they feel that they do not need, which are in good condition, and they hang them on those hooks. It is ready, it is available for any passerby to pick it up, whoever may be needy. And the children get such thrill when they see that that hook is empty now, someone has taken what I did not eat and it is useful for somebody else. So these are just small examples how you can teach kindness, how you can teach empathy to children. There are so many activities which could be organized in school, which of course schools are doing, but it needs to be more, you can say, organized in a regular manner, so that children understand this is also part of our curriculum. Mindfulness practice is very very important for children, teaching children how to focus. So mindfulness interventions can help children reduce their levels of stress, anxiety, and depression, while increasing their levels of positive emotion and attention. Now, how does one do this mindfulness in the class? It just takes around 5 to 10 minutes sometimes. As you enter the class, you see that the children are agitated, a little noisy. So you can ask them to just close their eyes, do a little bit of deep breathing exercises. Ask them to just close their eyes and see whatever they can hear, whatever they can smell, whether they can identify the different kinds of smells in the class. So that way they are focusing on the present. They're learning how to focus on now and here. They're learning how to not focus on the past, not look always towards the future, but being in the present, which is very important. So rewire, and of course, the 10th point here, which we are discussing, is the rewiring the negativity bias. A practice which we can do in the class, maybe it is an activity. You can ask the students to write three good things that happened today, whatever three good things you feel that have happened with you. At the end of each day, ask your students to write three things that went well for them, or three good things which someone may have said to them. Different ways in which you can put it. Ask them to share the good things with the partner and repeat this practice often. So now what happens when you do this? They learn to appreciate, they learn to keep in mind the good things, because we have a tendency to look at what is not there, look at the negative things. Aaj ye nahi hua, aaj wo nahi hua, today this has not happened, today it was so hot in the class. So instead of that, let them try to, start looking at appreciating good things and start remembering the good things, keeping in mind the good things. Then of course, stretch. Now learning new things is a key to happy life, because sometimes children get bored with the regular things that they're doing. So stretch beyond, learn new things. When we are engaged and interested in our work, we feel and do better. And I would say the same thing for the teachers. A good teacher is one who never stops learning, till whatever age, even be it till 80, 90. Every day, every single day, learn from everyone, learn from everywhere. You can even learn from children. So at least I feel that I have learned a lot of things from children, from students, from the workers around the school, the staff who is working, from every person. Every minute you can get to learn something good, something new. So but if the work is not challenging enough, we get bored, and if too challenging, we get overwhelmed. So try to stretch yourself that much as you can manage. Stretch your students to go just beyond what they can currently do, so that maximum learning takes place. Of course, being optimistic. Optimists are happier. This is also connected to something which we were discussing previously, that looking at the positive side of things. Optimists are happier, have better health, and are less likely to suffer from depression. Now, if a situation has happened, definitely everyone has to face it. It all depends on your perspective, how you are looking at that situation. So, a key to let the students know that the problem is temporary, it will not last forever, that it is specific, and it is not personal. Do not blame yourself. If something has happened, it could be another external factor that has been involved in making this happen. So trying to be optimistic, trying to look at the positive of every situation, that will help you to become happier. Then, of course, exercising. Exercise is one of the single biggest thing we can do to boost our physical as well as mental health. Mental health is very important. Of course, physical health, we all take care. We see what is the situation in front of us, how much we can do, and it's visible. If a person is in good health, it's visible. But mental health is something which you cannot identify. There may be children who seemingly are very happy. They're looking as if everything is all good with them. There are children who are quiet in the class. Many a times, as teachers, we tend to overlook those children who are sitting quietly in the class, because you feel that these are not the troublesome ones. But it could be that that particular child is the one who needs your help more than anybody else. It could maybe that particular child is facing mental health issues, is facing depression within, is having a lot of problems, anxieties, and is not having anyone to talk to about it. So do focus on the children who are sitting quiet in the class, because they are the ones I think need your attention much more than the ones who are naughty, noisy, who are hyperactive. They are the ones who are, you can see what is happening to them, but you are not able to see what is happening within the mind of that child who is sitting very, very quietly in your class. So, fitter students perform better academically, those who are fit mentally and physically. And of course, those who have got a better self esteem, they are the ones who are able to do well, whether it is in academics or in other activities, sports, in cultural affairs, in so many programs that are happening in school. So, short bursts of exercises raises the heart rate and sends more blood and oxygen up to the brain, allowing it to think better. The feel good hormones like dopamine and endorphins that exercise releases not only boost happiness levels, but they are neurotransmitters too. So they boost the brain power. Sometimes in the class also you can do it while teaching, if you feel that the time limit of the student to focus on what you are teaching or what you're saying is very, very limited. So to get them back interested in what you are saying, you can have a small little exercise in the class. Ask them to stand up, hold your ears, nose, or give them small little instructions, and tell them to do that in the class. It's just the way you want to do it. It could be a small game, it could be a 2-minute game also, and then come back to what you were teaching. So this makes a lot of difference in the class. The children feel happy and excited, and they are definitely going to like you much better for what you are doing in the class, for what you are doing with them. Walk the talk. That is important, because we cannot talk about happiness and not be happy ourselves. If we are talking about happiness, first of all, we need to be happy. We need to understand how to keep ourselves happy. Looking at things in the right perspective, looking at the things, the positive side of things. If it is a rainy day, everybody is facing the same situation, but why is it that some people enjoy the rain, they dance in the rain, they think of having pakoras, whereas there may be another set of people who will sulk, I cannot go out anywhere because it's raining, the weather is so dull, the weather is bad. So the same weather, the same situation is looked at differently from different people. It's only because those people have got a they're looking at it in the right perspective, in the positive, having a positive mindset. So it's for you to decide whether you want to have a positive mindset, or you want to always look at negative things, having a negative approach. Positivity is something which can keep you happy. If you are going to have this attitude of gratitude, the attitude of positivity, you are going to make yourself happy. And if you make yourself happy, you're going to make the people around you happy. And that is the way you can make your students happy. So, to create a happier classrooms for your children, you must first work on yourself. If you do not walk the talk, your message will feel inauthentic and your class won't buy into it. They'll say the teacher looks so unhappy herself. What is she talking about happiness? Isn't it? So you have to first start feeling happy yourselves. Start accepting your situation, which I had started right in the beginning. Start accepting people whom you cannot change. Start accepting situations that you cannot change. Start accepting the things that you cannot change. And that is the way you can make yourself happy, because many a times we try to change the people around us. We don't appreciate them, we don't. So start accepting people the way they are, and then that will make you happier. So make sure you look after yourself and practice what you preach. That's very important. Ultimately, a happy teacher makes a happy classroom. Train your mind. You can see this is the saying of Gautam Buddha. Train your mind to see the positive in everything. Positivity is a choice. The happiness in your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. So it's up to you whether you want to be happy or you want to spend your life complaining about things, negativity, and spreading negativity. Because if you are not happy, you're going to make everyone around you unhappy. Teach love, generosity, good manners, and some of that will drift from the classroom to the home. And who knows, the children will be educating the parents. Because if the children go, you are spreading happiness. If you are happy in the class, you're making your children happy. They go home and with a happy, smiling face, they are making everyone in the house happy too. So you are the one who is, spreading such a lot of happiness uh, around you. And here is my last slide, which I would like to share with you. If you want to be happy, live in the present. Don't keep sulking about the past. Don't keep looking about the future. Will I get this? Will I be able to do that or not? Be in the present. Be happy with what you have right now. Be where you are. Otherwise, you will miss your life. Now, there's the story about the black dot, which I want to share with you. A piece of paper was given to a group of students with a dot in the center and asked, "What do you see here?" So most of the children, most of the people would definitely say, "I see a black dot." But there are also people who will say, "I see a white sheet. I see a beautiful white sheet where I can draw. There's such a lot of space in it where I can put in my creativity." And there's, of course, a little dot in the center. So it's all about your perspective, what you see, what your positivity, what you are going to spread. So be where you are, otherwise, you will miss your life. Be in the present, live in the present. If you want to be happy, live in the present. So with this, I'll stop sharing my slide so that if there are any questions, I'm ready to take questions if there are any.
Uh, Very good
Yes.
evening once again. That was indeed a very, very beautiful session. I was just looking at the chat, YouTube chat, looking for questions if there's something coming in. I think you have covered so many points, and all praises to your very simple yet effective presentation. And thank you for that.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks for your outstanding presentation, and your insights were incredibly valuable, and it offered a fresh perspective that resonates with all of us. The practical solutions you shared will certainly help us as we move ahead. Thank you once again. And yes, as you say, very this thing, I started this session, I was happy. Today, I'm right now feeling even more related, and that's a wonderful note to end with this wonderful, beautiful presentation. And you actually walked us through very categorically and stepwise as to how we can make our lives more beautiful, and build a nation that can ever be always smiling. So thank you for that, and thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
ma'am.
madam. Thank you, Vidyadan, for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I too would like to thank the participants for being there throughout the session, and of course to Vidyadan for giving me this opportunity once again.
Been a
Thank you very
real
much.
pleasure, and hope to see you soon again.
Right.
On that note, thank you. Take care.